dive into that commanding CLG victory. Let's send it down to Riv, who's Rift side.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Huhi of CounterLogic Gaming after their decisive victory over Team Impulse. Coming out into this game, you guys looked like, after the first few kills, as they just sit on the desk, you guys had everything rolling. Coming into this game, what were you expecting from Impulse? Because you played so clean.
To be honest, we just practiced versus Immortals this week, and then we naturally became a little better. So we just naturally beat them, I think. And then we practiced a lot of instead of practicing strategy, we try to figure out our pick and bans.
And kind of directing this towards you as a mid lane player coming in for CounterLogic Gaming this year, what type of player do you like to be? We saw the Zed play, it was really clean this game. Is that what fits your role, or are you just there to play anything for the team?
I usually like to play assassins, but I'm a player that wants to sacrifice anything to win. So I can also sometimes 2v1 mid, let Darshan get farm, then I'll get denied, something like that, yeah.
Or dive into the base, go really hard at the end of the game. Things like that we see. So final question to you, Energy, Team Solo Mid next week. You guys are now tied neck and neck with score. How are you feeling about those matchups?
We feel confident every single week, and then we're just trying to accept this season as a way to improve, and then we're going to perform on playoffs. So right now we're trying to improve instead of carrying. Yeah.
No, instead of just carrying, he said, well, everything's going fantastically. Congratulations on the game and best of luck in the future. To break down more of that game, we're going to throw it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Huhi saying he prefers to play the assassin-type champions. He had his opportunity to do so in this game, playing the Zed. Yeah. As was mentioned by the casters at the desk, plenty of roams in there, definitely helped them get the ball rolling early, picking up those early kills and helping keep the Quinn down in that Ryze-Quinn matchup.
And that's something I like, you know, how CLG handled the transition from Pobelter to Huhi. One of the things that they first recognized was oh, Huhi's roams way more, but he gets behind in CS sometimes and it kind of loses a lot of pressure mid. Instead of saying, oh, never roam, taking that hardline approach, they're don't roam around, stay in lane, try and hold. They're find the middle ground, roam when appropriate, and they were able to work it in here. He had a huge impact on the game on that Zed.
Yeah, and it changes expectations too. The same could be said of the way Stixxay has kind of stepped into the shoes of Doublelift, because you're no longer trying to fill the shoes of an old player. He's not trying to lane like Pobelter, he's trying to be his own individual player that roams more. Stixxay's not trying to be Doublelift, he's trying to be a lower farm, more team-oriented AD carry.
Who goes and solos the mid laner and splashes forward.
Didn't see Doublelift do that.
Then gives the shutdown and the assist back, unfortunately, at the tail end of that. But this really kind of was an interesting bounce back for the team after a tough loss to Immortals yesterday. CLG looking a lot more to form.
Letting out some of that anger.
Maybe that's what it was.
Rage.
I mean, they seemed very overzealous yesterday in their game and keeping this. They had a few overzealous moments, as was just mentioned, Stixxay in the mid lane, but for the most part, established a sizable early lead that kind of let them do what they want. One of the ways in which they did that, though, was the strength of their bot lane, Aphromoot and Stixxay. We have a replay, 2v3 even, turning things around. We'll get that up on your screen, because this was kind of the mark of all things going downhill for Team Impulse.
And this was, look at Stixxay, he's not level 6 right now, by the way, so he's going to get this kill, flash forward onto Pyrion. He gets level 6 off of killing him, instantly levels up his ultimate, calls Aphromoot back in, and then gets the kill with Aphromoot landing the Glitter Lance, too. Yeah. So that's something you miss, being able to quickly level up your skills. You have to have those hotkeys set. For everybody else, and Stixxay is able to react very quickly. Oh, I got level 6. He knew what his experience was at. He was flashing forward, counting on that to chain into another kill. And after that, I mean, it just went really, really downhill for Impulse. Because CLG, right before that, they had gotten a kill across the map on the other side.
Right.
So everything was going CLG's way.
I think there's a lot of value in the support Lulu pick there for Aphromoot in particular. He's always been a really good support Lulu player, but in past years, when that's locked in, you never think it's going support. So I do think he caught Team Impulse a little bit off guard, really that whole game. It's been a while since they probably played against Lulu in a pro player, or even a scrim.
Yeah,
as a support.
Yeah, it is it's an interesting flex pick, being able to throw that Lulu down into the support position. For Team Impulse, this is going to be a tough week for them up against CLG and Energy. They take the losses against both of them. Pyrion maybe being the bright spot for them as a team, but definitely they've got some work to do ahead of them in order to keep at the top of the or in the middle of the table and make a case for themselves making playoffs. Now looking ahead, CLG next week, Energy and TSM. So they've got a big week ahead of them. you know, they've got to have some confidence coming off of a win like this. However, if they're comparing themselves to how they've done against top-tier teams, the Immortals game is going to definitely weigh on their conscience a little bit.
Yeah, well, we have that logjam at 5-3 right now. What's 4 or 5 different teams?
4, 5, and 3 teams with that win.
4,
right there.
5, and 3 teams right there. So next week is super exciting because CLG
They're playing,
gets to take
and they're
on
playing 2 of them.
multiple of those 5 and 3 teams. So that is the biggest week of the year for them. And I think this win does a lot to kind of build their confidence moving towards that moment.
And there's a lot of variance in all these teams that you're talking about that are stuck at 5 and 3 for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, some of the games they're looking great, and then they have exactly the next day have a complete collapse. You know, there are multiple, you know, swings in each game where you think they're winning up until they are no longer winning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to wonder which CLG, which TSM, which energy shows up next week for these games, and it'll be a really telling week for those 5 and 3 teams. However, we have one more match to get through today. Our final battle of the day, Team Dignitas is going up against Echo Fox. Don't close this tab. We'll be just back in 3.5 minutes.
Wait, where's head referee typing from?
Backstage.
No, he
Oh,
just
shit.
talks and it goes in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I wish I could do that.
It's like the Wizard of Oz when the guy talks behind the curtain.
I never watched Wizard of Oz.
All right, we lost.
Knocked down Croxon, and he will with Red. He's still going forward. Ults Afromu in. They're going to find some damage on a Gate who doesn't trade back. Pyrian staying a little too far forward, but they bait it with the stun. Smithy. Ooh, great ulti by Afro to keep him alive, but now on to Pyrian, and the last Praise Seeker hits.
I'm ult you in.
All right, I got Rise.
Go for Elise, go for Elise, go for Elise, go for Elise.
I sped you, Trevor. Back up, back up, back up.
Here's the re-engage by TMP. They cannot kill off Huhi, though. It's going to be a 3-for-0. It's a delayed ace as the team respawns. 24 minutes. CLG tied for second.